What's good, YouTube? It's Quintessential Q, your quintessential ain't shit YouTuber here. And I know it's been a while, but with the new update to Pokemon Unite, I thought I'll do a quick tier list video. Been a little bit of a transitionary period in my life, so my bad on the lack of uploads, but I'll get back on doing consistent uploads with Pokemon Unite tips, as well as some other things, as well as putting out TikTok content and Twitch. So follow me on both of the platforms. Link in the description to both of those will be down below. But now that intros are out the way, we got a new update, huh? And with the new update, we got some balance changes, huge amount of balance changes, actually. A lot better than, the last one where they just gave us, Blissey changes or whatever. Joke. But this one shifted up meta. Some people went up, some people went down, and I'm here to break it all down. You feel me? Bars. Anyway, starting off. Should we just go in the order that they have here? Yeah, I'll go in the order they have here. If I want to jump around, I'll jump around. I think, is this list? Yeah, this list got Clefairy in it, so let me put a not in the game, as always. And just smack you right there. Alright, now that all that is out the way, let's start. First up, Venusaur. Venusaur is a solid A. He's moved up. He's come a long way, because honestly, at the start of the game's lifespan, boom, he was down here. So the boy has made it all the way up there. Pedal Dance is just dumb. Like, with all the buffs that he's gotten, it's opened up the doorway for him. Like, I've seen pretty much Venusaur in every type of role. I've seen him in a supportive style role. I've seen him in like a main DPS role. I've even seen him in jungle. And it's actually kind of nutty how good this Pokemon is, because again, at the beginning of the game, down here, garbage. Whoopsies, not that high. Let's get that on here. Oof. Next up, Gengar. Someone who's fell from grace, started the game, he was up here. Now I feel like he's a solid B, because I feel like no matter where you put him, there will always just be a better pick, right? You put him in jungle, why would I have a Gengar jungle when I can have Cinderace jungle, or Greninja jungle, or Lucario jungle, or Zeraora jungle, or why would I have this? Even now, Talonflame jungle I would prefer over Gengar, honestly. But there is a glimmer of hope for Gengar. All is not lost with the new items. Choice specs can give this character some new life, because I don't know, the passive from Choice Specs might have Gengar creep up back into A. We have to see as the meta progresses with the new items in the game, how does that affect Gengar, if at all. But even though I'm putting him at B right now, be on the lookout, because like I said, with Choice Specs, I can see him slowly climbing back up the ranks. Probably not back up to here, but at least making it back up to A. But for right now, he's B. Mr. Mime, I never have positive views of Mr. Mime, but all the Mr. Mime players always be in my comment section being like, he's better than what you say he is, and god dang it, Q, he's better. So I'll give him the back of B, because honestly, in this game, there's just better supports. He is the last support character I would want on my team. And then and I know I'm rating this at the highest level of play, which I am at Masters. So I'm rating this at the highest level of play, but even some Masters level players don't always hit Mr. Mime combos as they should, and when they need to hit them, so that it's integral to the team fight. So he has a lot room for error compared to like almost every other character on this roster. But I'll give him an honorary B, especially because nowadays I feel like a couple characters are worse than Mr. Mime, so you know he can be at the back of B, I guess. I'll try to have this as ordered as possible. Snorlax, he used to be an S. I feel like he is like A. I feel like he's like borderline. If I could have like a A plus, like he's like right here. He's like in limbo between A and S, honestly, because the nerfs did kind of put him in line a little bit, and with some other tanks, hint hint, he is kind of debatable, like whether he still belongs in that S tier spot. I think he's A. He's still incredibly good. He still fulfills the role of a tank. Anything that you need a tank to do, Snorlax got it. You need crowd control, got it. You need a tank that can make space, like make space and make room for your carries, got it. So at the same time, while he's A, he, like I said, he is an A plus. He's like at the top of A, if anything. Gardevoir, oof, C. I used to have high opinions of Gardevoir. She was like an A for me, but Gardevoir is really falling off, honestly. And like, I think the later the game progressed, we saw the flaws in Gardevoir, right? Because again, similar to Gengar, you're not going to run Gardevoir jungle, because I mean, while jungle is like the easiest way to probably get your Gardevoir online, if I'm the enemy jungler, like let's say I play like Lucario jungle, right? If I'm like Lucario jungle, and I know I'm going against a Gardevoir jungle, I'm oppressing you. 100% I'm oppressing you. I'm invading your side of the jungle on cooldown, and you will have to fight me at every level for every level you get. And unless you're in comms and you call out that invade every single time, or I kill you in lane and then invade your jungle and take some of your jungle camps. Like, I will make it a living nightmare for you to be in jungle. And literally, you can do that with any jungler. It doesn't matter. Not just Lucario. You can do it with Absol. You can do it with Talonflame. You can do it with Zeraora. You can do it with Greninja and Cinderace. Like, you can literally do it with any of the main people you see in jungle. And then when it comes to lane, the jungler is just going to camp your lane and make it a living nightmare for you there. So, and then I feel like the payoff of having Gardevoir doesn't even feel that substantial, because like the strongest thing about Gardevoir is her team fight presence, but I feel like her strongest team fight thing is her ultimate, which I mean it should be, it's an ultimate, but like she becomes like an ult bot like at end game, and I'm just like, I'd rather more useful attackers on my team than Gardevoir, you feel me? Moving on, Absol. Now, controversial, because some people might put Absol in B. I'ma put them at the back of A. I'ma put Absol at the back of A. Only because now we have Razor Claw in the game. And I think Razor Claw on top of Scope Lens will have this character shining. I've been playing some Master Game with the Razor Claw, and let me tell you, that thing, woo, this character feels so good. I feel like Absol is hugely slept on. I always feel like Absol is slept on. Like every update, every patch we get, I always feel like Absol's the slept on pick, and it takes like a really good Absol to let people know, like, oh dang, like this character might be on to something. Garchomp. I really want to put you here. I'm gonna put you there. Similar to Gardevoir, hard to get online. If you're in jungle, you're getting oppressed. If you're in lane, you're getting oppressed. Like you have terrible, and I mean terrible early game. and your late game only somewhat fixes that. And then I feel like he doesn't fit the current meta of how people build teams, right? As of right now, people build teams for like high burst damage, and that is something that Garchomp does not have. He has sustained damage, but he does not have like really high like bursty type of damage, right? Not really like high bursty damage, and I feel like that hurts him, on top of the fact that it's kind of rough to get your Garchomp online. I'm not gonna hold you. So with all that being said, I feel like he gotta hold that C spot, unfortunately. I wish this character was like here or here, but it would be interesting to have him more prevalent in the meta, I feel like, but unfortunately here. Crustle, solid B. I feel like some of the nerfs do help Crustle out. I've always feel like he was a solid B pick. Just compared to the other tanks that we have, I just wouldn't personally pick Crustle. Well, maybe over one other tank we'll get into later, but like I just don't feel like he's good. Don't get me wrong. Again, he does, similar to Snorlax, he does do tank things, but I just rather a Snorlax on my team, you know? You feel me? Lucario. Yes. You know what? Matter of fact, let's add a row above. Let's see. Let's make it purple. Oh no, not this row. Let's edit this row. Make it purple. Let's rename this Lucario tier. Yes, that's how good I think Lucario is. That Lucario deserves a tier by himself. Lucario, best Pokemon in the game, hands down. No contest. Argue with your mother if you feel differently about it. Honestly, the power-up punch nerf, nothing. Now, while I do agree with the philosophy they've been going with nerfs, that they don't want to completely butcher a character, they want to just tone that character down so it's more in line with the rest of the cast. Power-up punch nerf, I really didn't even notice it. I think it does like maybe like 70 to 100 less damage. Not noticeable in mid-battle. Like, you're not going to notice that power-up punch nerf at all. And then they didn't touch extreme speed. I think the power-up punch nerf, all it did was just push people to use extreme speed and see how nutty extreme speed is. But now it's kind of like up for debate, right? Which one's better, extreme speed or I was about to say close combat. They did buff close combat, but it's still not better than Bone Rush. Don't bother with it. I think it's more debatable which one's like better, either power up punch or extreme speed. And I think it comes down to your team comp versus the enemy's team comp. Like, do you need like to have like objective confirms? Like, is your team lacking objective confirms? Like maybe like a Greninja Surf or like a Blastoise ult, like something that can just secure you the objective. Then, you know, maybe you run power up punch. And plus with power up punch plus, you get the CC immunity, which can help you in the middle of team fights. Avoid some pretty nasty CCs like Wigglytuff Sing, Machamp submission. Like, you can avoid like a lot of shit. You can even avoid ults. Like, you can, like, if Gardevoir pops like Unite move while you're holding power up punch, you can literally just walk out of that shit. Like, it pretty much makes you say like immune. You can even avoid Charizard's ult. Like, if you know they're about, now that they reworked the ult, it's a bit harder to tell when they're going to scoop you up. But if you feel like they're about to like try to hit you with like Charizard Unite move, you can preemptively just charge power up punch right before they pop Unite move, and like they can't grab you. Like, they'll go into the animation to try to grab you and grab nothing. It's hilarious. And extreme speed is just really great damage, great mobility, like you're hard to catch. So I think it's just the power up punch nerf kind of just makes it more like you pick the one that you feel like best suits your team versus the other team, if that makes sense. Best Pokemon in the game, hands down. Been the best Pokemon in the game since day one of Pokemon Unite. Ain't shit changed. Talonflame. Talonflame, I feel like is A. The buffs to Talonflame, pretty good. They're finally a character in the game. Because at first I had like Talonflame like down here or down here. Because it was like, why bother, right? Compared to the other junglers, why bother? And now there's argument to have Talonflame on your team. Very great mobility, can get across the map. Is the fastest character to get across the map. No character can get across the map faster than Talonflame. So it's good for sneaking scores, like especially in that 2-minute mark where you get double points, stuff like that can really come clutch on that, and has really good damage with Fly and Brave Bird. So Talonflame a viable pick now, no longer a troll pick. Great to see. Greninja, A. Greninja, like the nerf to Greninja, you don't even really notice it. Again, I know their philosophy is just to tone down characters, not to completely butcher them. So I'm glad that they don't feel too bad, but you know, you don't really notice it in the grand scheme of things, especially since I said the meta is like really bursty damage. So if someone jumps on you as Greninja, you were going to die regardless, honestly. Charizard got some pretty substantial buffs, and they did rework the Unite move a little bit. Now you do the scoop up slam first before doing the fire breath attacks. At first you just flew up in the air, you rained down fire a couple of times, and right before the Unite move would end, you would scoop them up and then slam them down. Now they kind of just flipped that in reverse. You scoop them up, slam them down first, then do the fire breaths against everyone. They buffed the fire breaths for the Unite move. Don't know why they did that, because that already did 1,000,001 damage. So I guess it does 1,000,000, like 2,000,001 damage. Like that thing hurts, be melting people. Anyway, Fire Punch now gives everyone a burn that hits, because you could hit, at first you could hit multiple people with Fire Punch, but only one person would get the burn, the first person that technically got hit. Now it applies to everyone. That's huge. Flare Blitz didn't really get touched at all, but it didn't really need to. Flamethrower and Fire Blast, still incredibly great moves. So Charizard, again, a character who was like down here, bam, made it to A. That's a lot. You're going to see a lot of characters in here, and I feel like that's a good thing. I feel like having a lot of characters that are viable within the metagame is very good. So Zeraora, could be here, could be here, could be here, could be here. Zeraora is someone who kind of flops between these two positions. Sometimes he's A, sometimes he's S. Like, very situational where you put Zeraora, and as of right now, I'm gonna put them in S. I think right now, the way the meta is shifted, especially with the new items like Razor Claw in the game, Zeraora is definitely a formidable jungle now. Has pretty good power spikes, not as strong power spikes as Lucario, which is why, of course, Lucario's in a tier of his own. Like, coming out the jungle level 5 with either Power Up Punch or Extreme Speed is just insanely strong. So versus Zeraora, who doesn't get their first move, like their first move really until level 6? 6 and 8, I believe. So you know, you're like one level off from getting like your first move, and then another 2 levels off where you here get 5 and 7. So you clear the jungle, you hit 5, you either have Power Up Punch or Extreme Speed, and you have probably one of the strongest gank potentials out the jungle, like, period. You could also be in lane. Another meta that's going on is sending 3 people down bottom and just leaving Lucario to soak up all the XP at top dolo. because Lucario, with even his early game kit, has some of the best objective confirm in the game. so it's even more reason why this Pokemon is just nutty. Cinderace is A. But yeah, Zeraora still S tier, or now S tier with the addition of Razor Claw and how the meta is kind of shifted to like great burst damage, which Zeraora has plenty of. Cinderace is someone, I'll rearrange this to order this in a minute, but Cinderace is, so what can you say about Cinderace? Cinderace is great. Like, there's not a team, unless you already have like two, 3 attackers on your team, but there is no team comp that would not appreciate a Cinderace. Cinderace, same kind of goes with Greninja, but Cinderace is like just all around good. And now with like the Razor Claw, even though he can't use the melee effect portion of Razor Claw, can still use the other part of Razor Claw and get like the boosted damage. Now Flame Charge is questionable to be a good move, because now you can Flame Charge, get the boost for Razor Claw, and your next boosted attack or next ability does extra damage, and Pyro Ball now does dumb damage. So now Blaze Kick, and similar to how Lucario, now that you can really have a discussion of whether Power Up Punch is the better play or Extreme Speed is the better play. Same thing goes with Cinderace. Now you can question whether Blaze Kick or Pyro Ball is the better play for Cinderace. Pyro Ball gives you like great team damage because Pyro Ball can hit multiple targets. If you want that great single target burst, you get Blaze Kick. Like, still great Pokemon. Eldegoss S. Leaf Tornado, so good. And Gardevoir has Leaf Tornado, which is good, does good damage. You got heals. Eldegoss is hard to kill. Unite move goes stupid for objective confirms and for sustain for your team. Like, people were like, oh, well, Eldegoss got nerfed. Eldegoss ain't gone nowhere. Still S. Still S tier. Alright, so now, moving on, we got Cramorant. Cramorant, pretty solid, but I still think they're a B. Has really strong early game, does have a pretty alright like mid and late game, but compared to the rest of the roster, Cramorant's just kind of lacking. I'm not going to hold you. Joining them though is Pikachu, the mascot, also in B. It's just, again, kind of the same thing as Cram. Really good early game, really oppressive early game with Electro Web and Electro Ball, but the damage kind of falls off a little bit towards mid and late game, and they kind of just become like a supportive damage dealer more than just like a bursty, I'ma blow you up type of damage dealer. So Ninetales A, used to be an S, kind of an A. And the things that I said about like sustained damage not really being a big thing in the meta right now, it works for Ninetales, because as we know, Ninetales is not like incredibly bursty, I'ma kill you in 2 moves type of character, right? They kind of like whittle you down and poke you out and harass you. And I feel like it doesn't work, like why it works for Ninetales but doesn't work for Garchomp is simply CC. Like, the entire time while you're taking damage from Ninetales, you are getting frozen over and over and over and over. And with Garchomp, there's not really anything holding you down from just kind of walking away from Garchomp. Like, there's nothing stopping you from just walking away sometimes. There's some scenarios where you can't really get away from Garchomp, but most of the times, you kind of just hit Garchomp with a CC of your own and just push them back and, you know, walk away. Can't really do that with Ninetales. And Ninetales has sustained damage, has great CC. The freezes help the entire team, especially in team fights. So, yeah, A character. Wigglytuff got kind of toned down. You could argue this. For some reason, they got the defender color, even though they're support, but whatever. But again, I'm kind of feeling here. Again, I'll order this in a minute, but I'm kind of feeling here. They're real close though. If it would be ordered, they'll be up here in the closer half, but I feel like they're just not there. Now, before nerfs, when it was extremely hard to kill them and the damage was insane up here, but I think the nerfs kind of toned them down a little bit to where they're a solid 8 pick. Slowbro, kind of want to put them like here. I'm gonna just put Slowbro here because like Slowbro at the beginning of the game was like a solid A pick, but that was when we didn't have like a lot of characters that could fulfill that like tank support role. Now that we got so many characters that can fill that role just way better than Slowbro, Slowbro has just fallen off. And then on top of that, the nerf to surf bars, it just didn't help him at all. Machamp, bam, there. Honestly, Machamp just doesn't feel strong in the game right now. Again, kind of similar. The more the meta progressed and the more like the meta evolved and more other characters like Charizard, like Talonflame, like Absol kind of got buffed, you started to see less and less Machamp. And to the point where I'm like, yeah, he's okay, yeah, Machamp can do things sometimes, but most of the times they just get blown up for trying to do things, and it just kind of feels bad. Blissey, A, great support especially for characters like Cinderace and Greninja. Great heals, not as great of a support as Eldegoss over here. Eldegod, more like it, but you know, still very viable option. Still great to see on the team. Honestly, there's no reason to not have a Blissey sometimes, especially if you do have a character like Cinderace, like Greninja, who would really appreciate it. Finally, the boy, Blastoise. Yes. I'm sure nobody is surprised here. Insane damage with Rapid Spin and Water Spout, insane objective burn with that setup. And then if you want to go more tanky and more supportive, you can go like what, Surf, Hydro Pump, and just still have that incredible just peel for your carries, that objective like control, that space control of a tank. Or you can go in more damage set with the Rapid Spin Water Spout. Like literally both movesets are viable for Blastoise depending on what your team's looking like. And honestly, one of the best tanks. Honestly, the best tank right now in the game. So I think as ordered as I can get it right now, I think this is kind of how I'm feeling about the metagame right now. Lucario by themselves, Gardevoir, just worst character in the game. Hashtag buff Gardevoir. I honestly buff this entire bottom row, honestly. This B tier can get a little bit of love too. It can get smidgen of love, just a little sprinkle of love. Lucario's nerfs don't mean nothing. I feel like it's hard to nerf Lucario. I think one nerf to Lucario that would set like Lucario back in line to like S or like A is a simple one, really. Just make him start out as Riolu, lower down the stats a bit. That way he doesn't just come out the jungle crazy. But you know, I guess that's too much work. I feel like that's a simple change that would tone down how good Lucario is. if Lucario had to work for his evolution like everybody else, you can even make him evolve at like level 6, level 7, something like that. Just make him work a little bit, just a little bit for the evolution, and you know, he might go from Lucario tier to like S tier, you know, like, and throwing him down just a smidgen. I feel like that would be a simple change that would kind of tone down like Lucario, but it is what it is. But that'll be all from me today. I'll be posting like more Unite guides, more Unite tips and stuff in the future, as well as doing more TikTok content, as well as Twitch content. Like I said, link in the description to those will be below. But with that, deuces.